All last year, we heard about the left wanting to defund the police. In many troubled areas, police budgets were cut, only to later be pumped up again once Biden was in office. But the left might have found a new way to cut the police force, as cops are threatening to resign en masse over state vaccine mandates. Keep watching for the details. First and foremost, today's video is brought to you with the help of Blackout Coffee Company, your friendly mom-and-pop coffee roasters who always work to support the Second Amendment and veterans. To help the channel and check out their roasts, loose-leaf teas, and awesome new holiday flavors, use my link on screen or down in the description. I have to say, this is another one of those stories that I didn't expect, mostly because of where the news is coming from. Massachusetts.
No way.
We are already seeing resignations and walkouts in other sectors in other states over vaccine mandates, especially in the medical field. Just on Sunday, I did a special stream to break the news that New York is actually considering calling a state of emergency and bringing in the National Guard to replace the 70,000 to 95,000 unvaccinated healthcare workers that are set to lose their jobs, regardless of medical or religious exemptions. If you haven't checked that out, I'll link it up in the cards. It is a long one, but all of the need-to-know information is really in the first 15 minutes, so check it out. But back to this news out of Massachusetts. Good old Rhino Charlie Baker up in Massachusetts, bless his dumb and economically illiterate heart, has instituted a vaccine mandate for all state employees. In mid-August, he announced via executive order that 42,000 state workers and contractors in the executive branch either must vaccinate, be granted a quote-unquote legitimate medical or religious exemption, aka one approved by the state, or else face disciplinary action up to and including full termination. It also orders employees to keep up with any and all future COVID booster shots, however many that will be. These employees, including police officers, have until October 17th to be fully vaccinated and furnish proof to the state. This includes all full-time, part-time, seasonal, and temp workers, even all the way down to interns. It also includes an additional 2,000 contractors. So it's basically Biden's mandate, but on a state level.
Oh, well, then what could go wrong?
Seriously?
According to Baker, the executive department is the biggest employer in the entire state, as in the state government is the largest workforce in Massachusetts, which is an issue in and of itself, but that is an entirely separate video. This executive order encompasses Baker's office and staff, the state's various executive offices, and any agency, bureau, department, office, or division of the Commonwealth within or reporting to such an executive office of the Commonwealth. The order also encourages all other offices, agencies, and authorities, as well as all elected officials, public colleges and universities, and the legislature to do the same, though falls short of ordering it outright. Though, of course, he might change his mind with the stroke of a pen and order vaccines for everyone Oprah style.
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special Pfizer shot. Shots.
Ironically, most unions support the measure, their only qualms being that the order doesn't include guaranteed sick leave to recover from the vaccine, because it's totally fair and perfectly fine to be forced to take something that you need special time to recover from.
Move on! Nothing to see here! Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
This order, by the way, is the exact thing that, in March, Baker said he wasn't going to do, which is another thing that he has in common with Biden. Last week, the State Police Association of Massachusetts filed a lawsuit claiming that the mandate would pose irreparable harm to state troopers who wanted additional time to negotiate the terms and conditions of their employment, and thus they were asking to delay the measure. According to the union's lawyer, about 80% of the state's troopers are vaccinated, but another 20% aren't and should be allowed to opt for masking and weekly testing instead, neither of which are options under Baker's order. They also requested that contracting COVID while at work be treated as a line-of-duty injury. Judge Jackie Cohen ruled against them and in favor of the state. Big surprise. The union released a statement reporting that dozens of officers are planning to hand in their resignations ahead of one of the most stringent vaccine mandates in the country that also has no reasonable alternatives. The union made a similar point that has been echoed by many healthcare workers, that last year they were on the front lines, in the public, often without proper protective equipment, and were called heroes by the state. In their eyes, this has been a massive reversal, especially in a time when the police, much like pretty much every other sector across the country, are short-staffed. Critics of personal choice argue that cops, teachers, and healthcare workers shouldn't have a choice due to the potential of ripple effects. But it turns out cops in Massachusetts aren't the only ones fighting vaccine mandates. Denver's top public safety leader stated back in August that he was prepared to discipline and even fire every single cop and sheriff's deputy in the city that didn't comply with the Denver mandate. Their deadline was September 15th, and while public safety officials said they were willing to ensure vaccine compliance by any means necessary, the police union fired back that cops should be trusted to make their own personal medical decisions. The city didn't keep track of vaccination numbers among state employees for some reason, but the Denver Police Protective Association polled their 1,500 union members about vaccine status back in August. Of those who responded, only 43% had elected to receive the vaccine. The union chose not to release this study publicly, though it did find its way into the Denver Post somehow. Back in July, the LA Times reported that half of the LAPD was also unvaccinated, prompting officials to also consider vaccine mandates. In San Francisco, the Deputy Sheriff's Association also came out against local mandates that also required full vaccination or termination with no alternatives. The group said that 160 of its 700 members aren't vaccinated due to religious or other beliefs, and that many were prepared to resign en masse or seek early retirement in protest of the mandates. Michigan's Van Buren Township made a similar announcement, promising that 1 in every 5 cops and firemen were prepared to quit over the mandates. In this case, the mandates still stuck, but it left officials scrambling to figure out how to force compliance without firing people before the deadline. 3 state troopers in Vermont recently resigned amid allegations that they had essentially organized a fake vaccine passport ring. I say good for them. Unfortunately, their superiors said, "Nope, we're reporting you to the FBI." One county alone in Oregon stands to lose 17 of their deputies, prompting the sheriff to ask for an emergency declaration. In San Jose, another reserve officer recently made the news after resigning over mandates with a September 30th deadline. He had previously spent 23 years in the department as a full-time officer and went reserve after retiring in 2019. San Jose is now among the many cities that are expecting a wave of resignations, as over 200 city employees have already applied for exemptions. Their mandate also does not allow weekly testing as an alternative.
See, everything's fine.
Following the events of 2020, there has been a sharp rise in police resignations and early retirements in several states, including an entire police department in Missouri. Now these departments are facing even more shortages as their respective cities and states tell them to either get the shot or work elsewhere. The Fraternal Order of Police, which boasts more than 356,000 members, has defended the mandates as the best way to ensure public safety, but has also vowed to defend its members and their personal choices. Union Director Jim Pascoe called the mandates management by tantrum, saying that the enforcement measures are childish and not going to work, which I have to say is probably the first time I have ever found myself agreeing with a police union over a policy issue, and I'm a little bit shook. Some legal experts say that the mandates are perfectly legal, but that anyone under union contract might have a standing as they could be in violation of collective bargaining agreements. I tell you, what'll be a really fun time is if places like New York and Massachusetts, who are already pulling in the National Guard to drive school buses or take over healthcare, will try to install them as police too. Because remember, according to the left, nationalizing industries and militarizing the police force was a terrible but inevitable nightmare under Trump. Under Biden, it's just building back better. That's it for today's video. As always, thanks for tuning in, checking out all of the partners and support options in the description, doing all the little algorithm things like liking and commenting, and I will see you in the next one.